Athletic Venturers, D&D story time here. For context, this wasn't actually Dungeons and Dragons, it was actually a system that our Dungeon Master had come up with themselves called Broken Star. It was kind of like a set in space, it was kind of like a Firefly-esque kind of setting, if you like. Throughout the campaign, our exploits set us on the sights of a cult that was trying to basically bring back this goddess of destruction, blood and death and such, and so we were obviously trying to stop them. So different missions ended up happening where we were trying to like track them down, slow them down and such, but we ended up in the final boss battle whereby the cult had actually captured certain NPCs that we really liked, but also previous characters that we had played, and basically what was happening is that they were in orbs around like this central platform and their souls were like basically linking to the middle, a bit like that kind of vampire thing in Baldur's Gate 3, only obviously we did this like 10 years before. But in the final battle we are trying to stop the cultists, we're trying to save these NPCs, and obviously we're trying to stop the ritual from going down, so all of us are kind of like working together to try and like stop this thing from happening. One of our party members heads straight to the center of this thing where basically that's where the person is standing who's trying to become this avatar of this like a goddess of destruction and such, and they end up like fighting them, beating them and pushing them out of the way, and end up in the central platform themselves. And the Dungeon Master describes how this voice echoes through their head, like basically saying that they can give them everything they ever wanted, all they've got to do is submit. And there's what I was thinking, oh like there's gonna be a wisdom saving throw or something, and like this is gonna be like something which we're just gonna have to help get them out of eventually. But the player, without hesitation, stares at the Dungeon Master and just says, I accept. And then we are told suddenly, like, you know, there's this big kind of like explosion in the middle, and like his form changes and like mutates a little bit as they become this crazy avatar of this goddess. And we were like, oh crap. And we were all like, what the hell happened there? Why the hell did you accept that? But what ended up happening was that that player was actually playing an evil character all along, and we just hadn't realised it. But going back in certain things that happened in the campaign, suddenly it all started to make sense that certain actions and things that they did, they were actually playing an evil character all along, but it was done so masterfully, and honestly it was the craziest twist in a game that I've ever played. I know that some people might hate the idea of that, of somebody playing an evil player character all along and that being like the climax of what happens at the end of that campaign, but I really enjoyed it and it's going to sit in my memory rent-free forever because it was such an amazing experience. If you enjoyed this story and were maybe considering playing an evil player character yourself, I've actually got a video with tips on this over what you like potentially here or on the Red app, whereby there's a whole video on little tips and whatnot if you want to play an evil player character yourself. Thank you for listening to this, and I'd love to hear in the comment section down below if you've ever played an evil player character or if you're considering it. So thank you, and remember,
Please follow Gaming Treasure Chest for more D&D content.